All right, so we're going to dive in to your habits and assessing your current habits, seeing what's working, what's not working, because the habits that you do will dictate the future you. So let's dive in. All right, so when you're first trying to pay more attention to the habits that you're currently doing and what's kind of working towards your goals and what's working you away from your goals, is we have to kind of try to make sure that we're a little bit more self-aware of our day-to-day. This could be easily figured out through, just writing down what you're doing. Sometimes people will just do like a hourly schedule and kind of write down what they were doing, just, looking at your day-to-day life without actually changing anything and seeing, where you have some free time, where you might be losing some time, but actually seeing what you're doing in your day. I'll talk more about that later. Because a lot of times when people have that limiting belief that they're too busy for certain things, this activity really helps you break that down. But for right now, we're just going to keep going. So when you're starting to try to pay attention to your habits, there's a couple things you want to actually look for and start to pay attention to things that are triggering you into some of the poor habits you might have, like some emotional eating habits. Your emotions just play a big role, and you need to start to recognize patterns. And once you start to figure out triggers and your normal patterns of what you're doing, it can help you come up with strategies and how to overcome them so that you can kind of prevent some of these setbacks that happen because of your normal habits. That's why tracking is really helpful. I've included in a link that you have access to this habit tracker, and it actually works really well if you want to work on stopping some habits and building on to some habits. So you could think about your morning, things you're doing in the morning that you might want to keep doing or start doing, and things that you might want to stop doing. And you'll get some satisfaction just checking it off if you did it, or if you refrained from doing it, you can check it off. It's to try to break some of the bad habits and start to build some of the good habits. Let's see. So obviously we have some positive things going on and some negative things going on. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Positive habits, things that are supporting your goals with weight loss, could be like, you're eating whole foods, less processed things, staying hydrated, you're getting some movement regularly, really taking care of yourself, getting good sleep. Some of the negative habits, the emotional eating, it's the reactive eating, excessive snacking, being sedentary, too much, not sleeping well, being all over the place with your meals, not in a good routine. When we're working on trying to build new habits, we definitely want gradual change. If you try to change everything all at once, that is the quickest way to just burn out, and this is not what we want, because we are all about sustainability here. So slow changes will really make a bigger difference, and you can build. You work on, I'll talk about that in the next slide, but we don't want to take on too much too quickly. Just a few things that are small, achievable, and help us build momentum. All right, so here's an example with my little chart down here. We need to break up the habits into little smaller things. So, you could think about your goal is that you want to lose 50 pounds. What habits do you need to lose that weight? I just did some examples. Maybe you want to try to walk 10,000 steps every day. If you're only getting 2,000 steps right now, that's going to be a big change. Doing that plus lower calorie, plus drinking more water, plus getting good sleep, all of these things all at once can be a little bit overwhelming. But if you break them down into little micro goals, that's a little bit more helpful. So if you look, I have lose 50 pounds, doing 10,000 steps every day. And then I broke it down even further, and we're going to replace some of the current time that we're watching shows with walking while watching them. So that's kind of like building on to something you're already doing, but not making it that hard. That's not saying, okay, we have to completely stop everything we're doing and go out for a walk. Maybe that is what you want to do, but this is a way to like slowly break these steps into smaller steps and build towards the goal, because they will add up. And that's building onto something you're already doing. The same thing could work. I've seen a lot of people who are working and they have the walking pads. And so they'll walk on the walking pad like during a meeting or something, and they stay on there the whole time. You can get a lot of steps in, 20, 30, 40 minutes, and you don't even have to do it all at once. You could do like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. You get on another meeting, you walk, just see where you can incorporate these small little steps. Here's another example. So you want to lose the 50 pounds and you need to lower your calorie intake. How can we do that a little bit easier? Well, we could replace your evening snacking, where you might be grabbing chips aimlessly from the pantry, and strategically have the snackable vegetables and fruits on hand. The amount of calories you're going to trade off from the snacking, you're still snacking, but we're doing a little trade off, because instead of having the chip calories, which are going to add up a lot quicker for less volume of food, you can have the veggies, the fruits, and it's going to be a lot lower calories. It's going to help you work towards the lower calorie intake total and help you work towards losing that 50 pounds. So it's really just when you're adding new habits, you have a clear goal and you break the goal into several steps that make it smaller and more manageable to be able to accomplish. And then here for losing 50 pounds and you want to drink more water, you could easily replace, maybe you're drinking sodas, maybe you're drinking juice. Anytime you're drinking those, change it out for like water that has like little packets for flavor. But, pay attention to what you're adding in there too. We don't want to be adding like a ton of packets and then it's like the same thing as the juice and the soda. There's a lot of the very low to no calorie drinks that you can add in for this example. So since we kind of already talked about ways that you can start to incorporate habits in very slowly and easily, you want to create your own action plan, listing the habits that you want to maybe add, things you might want to adjust. But like I said, we don't want to change things too fast. Even in my example, there's 3 different things that we'd be changing and adapting. Maybe you don't even want to start with doing all that. Maybe you literally just want to work on the steps first before you even touch the food. We don't want to build too quickly because we don't want to burn out. Like I said, sustainability long term. If you're already getting a lot of steps in, you can probably easily bump up that a little bit more and then focus on a different habit that you want to build onto. And once you get to a place where you're really kind of mastering that habit and it's like second nature, that's when you move on and you add a new habit to work on. So you always have like little things that you're working on along the way that are getting you closer and closer to your goals. And you definitely want to celebrate the successful habits that you incorporate. And when I say celebrate, I do not mean food rewards. We are not dogs, okay? Celebrate, get your nails done. Celebrate like something that is going to be exciting for you, motivating for you, and that's like a good pat on the back because you're doing a good job. And just remember, when you're trying to incorporate these new habits, setbacks and slips are completely normal. We just pick ourselves back up and we just keep going. Keep moving forward. That's what you got to do. But we are training your brain that, like teaching the brain that we can accomplish the goals we want to with all these habits that you start to incorporate into your life. That's evidence to your brain that your goal is possible. And the overwhelm of like what you need to lose and everything that you have to do it will start to come down, because you just build these habits, you just keep going, you stay consistent, and you'll get to where you want to be.